Namaste, nerds. I've got, this is Navanad, Budget Pub Stomper, and I've got a just classic deck tech for you today. This is a bit of a bonus video, just released one. I've got the day off. I've got nothing better to do with my life, so we're going to do this. Honestly, I was building Kefka, which you may have seen, and Kefka felt an awful lot like Grixis ETALI. Obviously, there's some serious differences between ETALI and Kefka, but the idea of just dropping as many kind of flicker and twin flame and just kind of making as many copies of the commander as possible and trying to get triggers sort of reminded me of ETALI. And I have tried to build Budget ETALI. People, I think, call for Budget ETALI more than any other individual deck. I bet you I've had 8 different people request this deck over the last year. It was just too expensive because all the ETALI cards are just too expensive. And that's what I've run into in past, is that all of the rituals are way overpriced. All of your Twin Flame and Heat Shimmers are all overpriced. And so I kind of put it on the back burner. But doing research for this Kefka list, I realized that we did get at least a couple of now budget Twin Flame type cards. And we had like some versions of the effect that were budget, but they didn't combo with Dualcaster Mage, which is kind of a big deal because we can't really do the food chain thing in Budget ETALI, and we do have to end the game. We have to finish the game somehow. And so put it on the back burner until we got a couple of new cards. Let me show you the card that put me over the edge and said, yep, it's time to build this deck on a $100 budget. Devastating Onslaught. This is the new one. This is 1 red, double X, create X tokens that are copies of target artifact or creature you control. Tokens gain haste, and then you sacrifice them at the beginning of next end step. And so what this is this is a combo piece for Dualcaster Mage that only costs $1.90. Twin Flame and Heat Shimmer are like $5 plus, or $4 to $5, $6. So we've got a version of this Heat Shimmer effect that has the same rate as Heat Shimmer. You can cast it for 3 mana and make 1 copy, which is enough to go infinite with Dualcaster Mage and win the game. And it also has the same, basically the same rate as probably the best card in ETALI, which ended up being the best card in Kefka also, I'd say. Rionia Fire Dancer. So Rionia Fire Dancer is 5 mana, and very often you're going to be putting this in play and getting 2 ETALIs. And that's the same rate as Devastating Onslaught. So for 5 mana, you get 2 copies of ETALI, which kind of puts it on par with Rionia. And for 3 mana, you get 1 copy of ETALI, which puts it totally on par with Heat Shimmer. And it goes infinite with Dualcaster Mage. The other one that we recently got was Electro Duplicate, which is just a 3 mana Twin Flame, but it also has Flashback. So here you've got the Heat Shimmer rate, 3 mana, and it does combo and go infinite with Dualcaster Mage. And you can flash this back. So for 7 mana, and a lot of times you'll cast this for free off the top of the deck with ETALI when you're flipping, and maybe you run into some mana also, or have some open mana up, and then you can get another ETALI trigger by flashing it back. So this is perfect for ETALI. It's a really good ETALI piece, and it's very good on a budget. And then Rite of Flame got a reprint too. So it's down from $5, $6 to $2.77. And we really just need a critical mass, or we need a density of rituals and a density of copy effects to make this deck work. And I think we're there. I haven't talked about the commander. Probably, I'm guessing if you've clicked onto this video, you know what ETALI does. This is a CEDH deck. If you aren't really into the CEDH meta, you don't know much about the CEDH landscape, it might be surprising that this is a mainstay. But this thing is a top performer. It's one of the, I don't know, say top 10 decks right now in tournament CEDH. And let's read the commander. I hate this version right here. But this is at we're at $99.20. My first draft put me at $100.01. That was frustrating. But we've been goldfishing. I've been goldfishing it, testing it, iterating and reiterating, and got a better version of the deck now at $99.20. And now I'm gonna pick a different version of ETALI. Now that you can see that it's $99.20, we're gonna use different printing, just so we can read the damn thing. Okay. ETALI Primal Conqueror, 7 mana. That's a lot, right? It is a 7/7 trample, and it says when ETALI Primal Conqueror enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among them that are exiled this way without paying their mana cost. You can't play the lands; those are just exiled. Then it's got this other bit of text, which usually is not very relevant, but in budget competitive, I think this actually could be relevant. And that is for 10 mana, you can transform this into like a Blightsteel Colossus. It's an 11/11 trample, indestructible, and when it deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. So it's a one-shot machine if you flip it. And we've got some ways to make it just a little bit even more deadly than normal. Or I guess I landed on a way to make it a little bit more deadly than normal, which is with Combat Celebrant. You could also do like the extra turn spells. So if you have like I don't know, what are the names of them? Warrior's Oath or something, or the budget one I think is Warrior's Oath, and there's another budget one. Just says take another turn after this one, and you lose the game at the end of that turn. If you've managed to kill one player, then you can use your Combat Celebrant to get an extra combat, and you can flip ETALI and murk somebody, cast your take an extra turn, and then finish the job. So yeah, you might end up flipping this guy on occasion in budget competitive, but it's definitely not the plan. So what is the plan? The plan is to spam ETALIs, and that's why we need a critical density of copy spells, because we need to be able to bump into these Twin Flame variants off the top of our deck while we're flipping. And I'm going to kind of introduce you to some of those. We have Chandra Flameshaper. Now this might seem like a crazy include because it's 7 mana, but keep in mind probably more than half of the time that you play this, you're going to be playing it for free off the top, and so it really doesn't matter what the cast cost is. Also, the deck is built literally to cast a 7 mana commander, so you might find that 7 mana cast cost isn't as bad as it seems. I've seen this in some CEDH builds. So Chandra Flameshaper has all relevant. Well, okay, so the top ability, you can +2 to add 3 red mana and exile the top 3 cards of your library, and you can choose one, play that card this turn. So that kind of is like it's sort of a version of, it's everything we want to do, right? Except it doesn't make copies, or does it? Look below the second ability, +1, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, has haste, sacrifice it, yada yada. It's got the normal Twin Flame text. So this is a planeswalker that is able to generate mana, give us things to cast off the top of the deck, and it creates, most importantly, it helps us get to that critical density of things that will copy ETALI off the top of the library, off the top of our library. We've got that one. We've got Eternal Witness, which can often flip off the top and then bring us back one of our copy spells and then let us do another copy. We've got Dualcaster Mage that can copy another Twin Flame and just win the game. We've got a lot of mana. Jaxus the Troublemaker, we can use this to make a copy of ETALI every turn, or we can blitz. We can pay its blitz cost, which is just 2 mana. That's the Twin Flame rate. And then it ETBs well, I guess it's the heat shimmer rate. So for a total of 3 mana, you can blitz this in. You bring it into play, but it's going to die at the end of turn, but it has haste, so you can use its tap ability right away. You will pay red, and 1 to get your copy. You'll have to discard a card when you do this, but you get to draw a card when the blitz ability sacrifices it. So you kind of go card neutral. It effectively becomes off the top of the deck just another copy of Twin Flame, or Heat Shimmer, although it doesn't actually combo with Dualcaster Mage. Then we've got Rionia, which is your number 1 go-to tutor target. If you can cast a couple of rituals and then cast your ETALI, cast a couple of rituals into Rionia, you can make, maybe 3 copies of ETALI. And I would say most of the time, if you're able to make 3 copies of ETALI, you've won the game. And if you don't win the game, you'll be able to do this again next turn. Rionia Fire Dancer says at the beginning of combat on your turn, create X tokens that are copies of another target creature you control, where X is, importantly, 1 plus the number of instants or sorceries that you've cast this turn. They gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So the Rionia makes minimum 1 copy, even if you have cast no other spells. Then it makes another copy for every instant or sorcery that you've cast that turn, which also makes it go infinite with Combat Celebrant. So Combat Celebrant has some utility in the... it's not a terrible card for the deck to begin with, but then most importantly, it's a combo piece. It gives us an A+B win condition with our most important card, Rionia. Then we've got let's see, I think I've talked about the other ones. We've got Devastating Onslaught, Electro Duplicate. This is a neat one, Metamorphosis. It's a one-shot version of what happens when you feed your ETALI to the normal win condition for the deck, which is Food Chain. And Food Chain, you don't necessarily need to go infinite with Squee in order to win the game with ETALI and Food Chain. You just have to sack a bunch of dorks to your Food Chain and be able to sack your ETALI and recast it, and sack it and recast it. We don't have Food Chain in the deck. It's too much of the budget for a card that we can't tutor for really at all. We'd have to have Gamble, which is another big piece in the deck. It's like $10 or something. Maybe not 10, but it's expensive, and it doesn't outright win the game. It's like $25 for Food Chain, so we don't have that as a hard win. But we do have our budget version of Food Chain, which I'm going to explain before we get to the goldfishing. And we're going to do some goldfishing. I've got this all set up so we can actually goldfish the deck. What are some other notables? Eldrazi Confluence is another thing to flip off of the top that gives us another ETALI. This also has just a lot of utility. It's an instant speed 4 mana spell. Choose 3 modes, and you can choose the same mode more than once. Target creature gets +3/-3. Exile target non-land permanent, then return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So we can flicker, say, I don't know, ETALI, and then return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control 3 times. That's crazy, right? So this is like the perfect piece for the deck. Then also, if we haven't got to our mana to actually cast our ETALI yet, this has another mode. Create a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token with sack to add a colorless. And so we can do that to get our first ETALI, or when we flip into this off of our ETALI, it's going to help us just win the game with mass amounts of ETALI triggers. Most of the deck, aside from that, there's one more clone. Cursed Mirror. So this is just another, if we flip into it off the top of the deck, it makes an ETALI, and then we get to redo the deck flipping, which you're going to see in the goldfishing. And was there anything else that makes copies? Panharmonicon. Yeah, so there's kind of a lot, right? Like if we have Panharmonicon, then it's going to double trigger all of our ETBs, and we do have kind of a lot of ETBs, but most importantly, if we go like turn 3 Panharmonicon into turn 4 ETALI, which is a little bit slower than we want to go, but sometimes that's the speed that we do go. I'd say most of the time, believe it or not, and you're going to see it, hopefully, if I don't get super unlucky. Most of the time, I'm able to get a turn 3 ETALI. But if you have Panharmonicon in hand or Rioni in hand, might be worth it to wait until turn 4 and be virtually guaranteed to just close the game out on the spot. Now, we don't have food chain. We've got a ton of mana. We've got 34 lands, counting our MDFC, which is a pretty vital piece. This is Disciple of Freyles, which in a weird way can be a win condition when we get our loops going, which we'll talk about in a moment. Most of the time it'll be a land, but this is a land that actually flips as a useful thing off the top. And it's a way to put our ETALI back into our command zone, which a lot of times that's what we want to do with it. We want to get the ETBs, put it back into the command zone, and then work on getting that next ETALI trigger, or that next batch of ETALI triggers. Mana. We've got all the mana. And then tutors. And we've got tutors like Nature's Rhythm, which can find the A and the B. So we can use Nature's Rhythm to find our Rionia. Then we can cast for green, and tap Rionia. We can cast it out of the graveyard and find our Combat Celebrant. So we kind of get both of our A plus Bs. We get our A and our B creature combo with one card. And that's kind of a trend for the deck. We've got tutors that like we can do shared summons and find the A plus B. We can signal the clans, which I was always using this as a budget tutor, but I watched a buddy of mine play this in his actual ETALI deck, and he doesn't even have 3 of each A and each B. But he's able to always put this to good use. Sometimes you'll find like the 2 pieces that you need and an Eternal Witness, for instance. So that if you miss, you can cast the Eternal Witness, pick up the Signal the Clans, and do it again. Or you can do the Signal the Clans, flash in your Dualcaster Mage. You're going to get 2 cracks at it. But I think kind of the last thing I want to talk about, we've got some interaction. Your budget, Gruul staples, Ricochet Trap, Abrade, Autumn's Veil. Flare of Duplication is a good one in the deck. We've got creatures that are expendable and some creatures that really, once they ETB, we've already used them, so we don't need them. Also, Flare of Duplication can sacrifice our ETALI if we want to put it back into the command zone so we can cast it again, which comes up a lot more often than you might think. I mean, that's what we're doing with Metamorphosis, if I wasn't clear on that. We can Metamorphosis, sacrificing ETALI. So once we've already cast ETALI, we get our ETB, we cast the Metamorphosis, and we get, what's ETALI 7? We get 8 mana, which means we only need 1 more mana to get our second ETALI cast. And I think, again, 3 is the magic number. We get to 3 and we've pretty well won the game. Yeah, but the kind of interesting and intricate line I've got here, did I say intricate? That's not a word. Intricate line. We've got a Goblin package that gets us to a win with Cloudstone Curio, which did recently get a reprint. Not too recently. It's back up to $8, but that's a far cry from where it was a couple of years ago. So this is going to be our budget version of Food Chain. We're going to use this to cast and recast ETALI. And the way we're going to do that, there's more than one way, but the main way we're going to do that is we're going to use Sticker Goblin. Sticker Goblin is going to, if you organize the stickers correctly, you're going to get 4, 5, or 6 mana off this thing when it ETBs. That's going to be at random, but as long as you have a 1 mana thing to keep, so you've got your Skirk Prospector or your Orcish Lumberjack or your Goldhound, as long as you have a 1 mana thing and you've got your Sticker Golem, your Sticker Goblin, and you've got your Cloudstone Curio, this is deterministic eventually. Some of the time you're just going to get the 3 mana or the 4 mana. It's 4, 5, or 6. So you'll get the 4 mana, and you'll go mana neutral off of a 1 red mana creature and the Sticker Goblin. But some of the time you'll hit a 5 or a 6, and when you do, you'll go up a mana. And so by going back and forth, if you're not familiar, Cloudstone Curio says, whenever a non-artifact permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may return another permanent you control that shares the permanent type with it to owner's hand. So if you're using Skirk Prospector and the Sticker Goblin, you'll cast the Skirk Prospector for 1 red. It'll bounce the Sticker Goblin. You'll cast the Sticker Goblin. It'll make at least 4. It'll bounce the Skirk. You can cast the Skirk to bounce the Sticker Goblin. You can recast the Sticker Goblin. It'll make at least 4. Occasionally, you'll hit a 5 or a 6, and you'll go up a mana. You keep doing that over and over until eventually you have infinite mana. Once you have 10 billion mana, you're going to use the Cloudstone Curio to cast and recast ETALI over and over, exiling your opponent's decks and murdering them with their own combos or just decking them out. So that's kind of the thing. That's what we're doing. Probably want to take you through the line. There are multiple lines, but a line to get to your Cloudstone Curio. We've got a Goblin package where we can go any creature tutor into Goblin Matron. Oh, this is a little bit complicated. So there's a very low resource way to do it where you're going to end up grabbing your Skirk Prospector. You're going to use the Skirk Prospector to sacrifice the goblins that you've already chained into. But I guess the only thing we really need to know, and you'll figure out the rest as you play the deck, is your Goblin Matron or any of your creature tutors are going to get you to your Goblin Engineer. And Goblin Engineer is going to put your Cloudstone Curio in the graveyard. You've got a lot of ways to make a hasty copy or haste enable this, but sometimes you just have to wait until next turn. And then you will swap out one of your mana rocks or something to put the Cloudstone Curio in play. And while you went through your little Goblin chain, because remember, you're gonna end up with the Goblin Matron in play. You're going to end up with your Cloudstone Curio in play. And so when you'll be able to bounce the Goblin Matron back to your hand and then cast it again to find your Skirk Prospector and find, whichever pieces you're missing, Skirk Prospector and or the Sticker Goblin, so that you have a 1 red mana creature and your Sticker Goblin. So it's deterministic, but it can take 2 turns. And it's complicated and convoluted. And most of the time, you're not going to need to know all the steps. You're going to be able to skip some of the steps. Oh, also, in the Goblin package, since we're playing like the Goblin Matron, and any of our tutors can... I'll just say this. We've got a Goblin package. I want to get to the Goldfishing. And remember, too, that all of your... like Jaxuses and your Rionias and your Twin Flames, all of those effects are going to give you the ability to make a copy of any of these things, these goblins that are in your package, so that you can reuse your Goblin Matron, so that you can haste enable your goblins. And a lot of times it's going to have you being able to tutor for multiple goblins, one after the other. And then if one of those goblins is Skirk Prospector, you'll be able to sacrifice your goblins you don't need anymore to add red mana to help you finish getting to where you need to be. Treasure Nabber. If your opponents have a bunch of artifacts, Treasure Nabber is your best friend. This is like Dockside at home. This just says whenever an opponent taps an artifact for mana, gain control of that artifact until next turn. So you get to steal all of your opponent's rocks. And we're playing a bunch of creature tutors and the Goblin tutor package, so this is I thought it kind of wise to just have a little toolbox of goblins, and this is one of them. I really want Vexing Shusher, but it's gone up in price. I think it's $6 now. So we have to do without, but Goblin Anarchomancer is one of the best pieces in the deck, in my opinion. I would not build a version of ETALI at any budget that did not include this guy. So that's kind of the Goblin package. Is it time to get on to the gold fishing? I'm kind of shocked at how fast this is, and how well it works. We've got I think we're just gonna get to it. Okay, now this $101.96 is hurting my OCD, and we're going to flip it back. There we go. How are we doing on? Definitely worse than I was hoping. I really wanted most of this video to be about the gold fishing, but one of the great bands of all time once said, "You can't always get what you want." Excuse my my voice. If you find it, let me know, because I lost the damn thing. Okay, let's go to the playtest. So how do we playtest this deck? This is a struggle, right? Because we kind of have to know what we're going to be flipping into, and how are we going to know that? Well, I've got just the answer for you. I've set up some decks, and I did this as randomly as I could. The decks I selected the last deck that we worked on. So this is the very last deck I worked on. I selected my own personal deck that I play most of the time, and I selected just a totally random, the most random deck I could find, if you can make sense of that statement. The, quote, most random deck I could find in my entire queue of budget competitive decks, bailing on a budget. There's nothing special about these decks that are going to make them particularly good for flipping. Well, okay, so Kefka, I don't know. So Kefka is going to have some pros and cons when it comes to ETALI flips. It does play some copy stuff, so that's good for us. But it also is loaded with interaction, which is bad for us, especially counterspells. All of the counterspells that we flip into are dead cards. My One Bin's Booty doesn't play Twin Flame, Dualcaster Mage, any of that. And you are bound, in a budget competitive situation, you're bound to be sitting at the table with some number of decks that's playing combo pieces that we want with our ETALI deck. So I think even though we've got quite a lot of them in Kefka, the fact that we don't have any of them in the other two decks, I think more than makes up for it. And kind of the worst thing you could run into with ETALI is a couple of, at least for flips, is a couple of control decks. And there are 2 control decks, so I think this is real fair. I don't think we're at all cheating with our dino flips. This is my first 7. Do we want to keep this? I want turn 3 ETALI. That's your first 7 should at least almost guarantee a turn 3 ETALI, or you should put it back. That's what I found. So we would go turn 1 Tinderwall, turn 2 Generator Servant. So on turn 3, as long as we hit a land drop, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So this would be a turn 3 as long as we hit a land drop on one of our first 3 turns, and we've got 34 in the deck. So I think we do keep this. This will be a kind of just barely on a first 7. I think on a first 7, you really want a clear path to your turn 3 ETALI. On a second 7, that's when you'd really be more motivated to keep something like this where you're pretty close to guaranteed, or just have a really clean and quick way to a win. And then once you get down to your 6s and 5s, you can just look for something that's playable, that is likely to get you to a turn 4 ETALI. But let's see what happens. There we go. Never punished. So turn 1, Tinderwall. Next turn. Oh, yeah. We got there in spades. Can we get there now? 1, 2. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we had a Simian Spirit Guide, we'd have a turn 2 ETALI. Or the other, an Elvish Spirit Guide or a Simian Spirit Guide would give us a turn 2 ETALI, which I have had happen in Goldfishing. That is a real thing. But we're just going to go turn 2, Generator Servant. Turn 3. We were nowhere near whiffing on lands. So turn 3, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Crack this, 4, 5. 6, 7. Now we have a hasty ETALI. That doesn't matter very much. I mean, hell, it punches somebody for 7. It's not nothing. All right, let's do our flips. We'll flip sweet. So probably we can get like 4 mana added to our mana pool here. So we've got some mana if we can find something to do with it. We've got, let's just say, each of them has, let's say 2. Let's see. 2 of them have 2. 1 of them has 1 mana tapped. I mean, they would have more. Let's just get 6. For sure, 1 of them will have 3 mana tapped. Or, you know, maybe 3 of them will have 2 lands tapped. I think 6 is... I don't think that's cheaty at all. I think to say that we get anything less than 6, we'd be playing it too safe. Not safe, but we'd be being big fat pussy heads. All right, now let's see what Kefka flips us into. Nothing. See the counter spells. That's going to be the problem with some of these decks that you're getting. Oh, that's gross. Okay, so we got nothing off of Kefka, nothing off. Well, this could be another mana if we need it. And Balin is the one we can least count on. Well, that was a pathetic flip. So we got a Llanowar Elf. We just kind of have to remember this. A Springleaf Drum. A nothing. A counter spell, I guess, if somebody tries to mess with us. So this is 6 mana, and then we'll say we got another 7 mana, or another 1 mana with our Springleaf Drum and our Elf. So we can tap the Dork with the Springleaf Drum. We can spend our Mana Geyser mana, so that's going to be, let's just call it 7 mana. I mean, you're going to have to be a little bit wishy-washy with this stuff when you're goldfishing. That's actually, I didn't until just now realize that, yeah, okay, so this was a really good hand. Yeah, this was a total keep on a first 7. Jesus, what was I thinking? I wasn't really paying attention to anything other than can I cast my commander on turn 3. But we win. We win. Okay, so we've got a bunch of mana, and we've got a Metamorphosis, so we can, we don't have green mana. Yeah, we do. We've got the Springleaf Drum for the green mana. So we've got 1 green, and we've got 6 red, say. We will cast our first. We'll use, how do we want to do this? We'll do, does this guy have haste? No. So we're going to have to blitz this guy in. So we've got 6 red. We'll cast this. So that's going to use 3. So we've got 3 red mana. We'll use the, we might want to discard this. No, we're going to discard the land. Okay, so we're going to use one of our, so we blitz this in, and we use the red mana to discard a card to make a copy. So the card we're going to discard is going to be this forest. So this forest is going to be another ETALI. So we're going to get another trigger, and we still have a ton of mana floating. What do we have? 3 red, and 1 green still floating. 3 red, 1 green still floating. And another chunky. So let's do ours. We get a Soul Ring. The Kefka is going to be a Lively Dirge. I don't think we can cast this. I don't think we can do the Spree. Choose 1 or more additional costs. I don't know. Like, this is really good if we can actually use it. I don't know if we can use it. If we can use it, we can get our Dualcaster Mage. And no, that doesn't work. I don't know. I don't know if we can cast this, and if we can, it's really good, and if we can't, it's not so good. Because if we can, then we can get a combo piece or another trigger. Let's just skip this one. I don't know what to do with it, so we'll skip it. We got a Skirk. All right. This one, we got a nothing. And boy, these flips have been bad. Damn. I've done this a million times, and the starting hand is one of the best we've had, but the flips have been some of the worst I've seen so far. So I think we had 3 mana floating, 3 red and 1 green floating. So we will sacrifice our ETALI to make 8 mana. We'll use the Manamorphosis mana to recast it, which will cost us 1 of our mana. So that's going to bring us down to 2 floating mana. We're going to have to decide soon if we want to use our Seething Song, but we are going to get another ETB from ETALI. And let's get a big flip this time. Come on, let's see something useful. Treasure Nabber. Stupid. The very next card was a good one. Okay, so Persist. Guess we could use that to get something. This is going to be probably fucking nasty. That's what this is going to be. For each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls with mana value 3 or less. So probably we just gaffled our opponent's commanders, not Kefka. So likely we just grabbed a Balin. We just snatched this guy's commander. We just got our own personal Malcolm. And then maybe this guy had a Combat Celebrant in play. May well have, or a Tiny Bones. We just gaffled. So that was a good one. But I don't know if it was game winning. I don't know if that was a game winning situation. Maybe. I mean, we're definitely in the driver's seat, right? Okay, so let's do another. Let's just do another. This is about the extent of the Goldfishing you can do. You're going to have to actually get this deck into a pod with opponents and play to see how well it really works. I've been impressed, though. I didn't honestly spend that much time on the deck yet, maybe like an hour. Well, okay, when I say an hour, I cracked that first list out in like 10 minutes. If you were on the Discord and saw the time between I'm going to build this deck and hey, check out my deck. Like, I'm really fast at this point. I cracked the first ETALI deck in like 10 minutes. So when I say I've only been working on it for like an hour, I've been working on it for like an hour, but I've done maybe a normal human who doesn't build decks every day. Maybe I've got like 4 hours in it, something like that. Hard to say exactly, obviously. But let's restart all these. Then you could even, this one would have been sick. If we would have hit that, and we would have off one more flip, we would have gotten to flicker our shit. So that would have been a really good hit. And who knows what might have been in the graveyard. So we, or actually what we would have done, no, we didn't know about the Persist. Yeah, if we had known about the Persist when we cast the Manamorphosis, which I don't remember if we did or not, we could have put ETALI into the graveyard instead of our command zone and then cast Persist on the ETALI. So maybe we would have gotten another trigger, and then that would have given us the Displace to get us another trigger. And eventually we're going to hit something nasty. You know, we just have to. But let's reload these. Yeah, I mean, we took our opponent's commanders all on. So, and mind you, all of this shit was turn 3, right? Like, we probably win that game. I mean, we don't win it on the spot necessarily, but likely we win that game. Also, we'd have had a draw off of the Blitz trigger. Wah, 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 wah. Okay. All right, big one. Let's see a big one. Let's see a good one. All right, so this is complicated as to what... This is a card that I'm thinking about taking out just because the cast cost being red, 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 red is kind of nasty. That's a little bit rough. Because I think if we counted this up, we have we got there, but I'm not sure we're actually going to be able to get the red mana that we need. So this is, if we get to red, 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 this turns 4 red mana into an ETALI, so probably it's good enough for the deck, but that red, 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 red cost, it does suck. It really does suck. And I think it's the reason that we're going to have to pass on this. So we would go like turn 1. I don't know if we would pitch the Spirit Guide. I think probably we would exile the Spirit Guide so we can cast this. So we can cast the Rock on turn 1, and then this guy on turn 2, and then on turn 3. I guess on turn 3, if we had found another red, we can't risk that. Second 7. There's that son of a bitch again. I think what I need to do is either take this out or I've got to find more ways to wash the mana. Because that is, yeah, red is, that's tough. But it is 4 mana ETALI flip. Or 4 mana ETALI, which is, I'm of two minds on it, to say the least. We don't even have red mana, so this is going to be going to a 6. I think we keep this on a 6. Draw for turn. We don't have any red mana. Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. We go turn 1 carpet. Okay, and we have 2 opponents, and Carpet of Flowers is okay in CDH. It's damn good in budget competitive. It's always on. Like, your opponents don't have just nothing but non-basic lands in their deck, and lots of players play blue. This is almost always going to be active for 1 on turn 1. I'm sorry, 1 after your opponents have played. If every opponent plays a land, one of them played an island, almost certainly, and it's usually going to be good for 2 on the second turn or your third turn. Again, kind of hard to goldfish. That's just one of the things about ETALI. It's just going to be hard to goldfish. Just kind of have to get over that. And we'll go to turn 2. Usually I like to play these things out on turn 1, but I think it was important for us to get to our red mana. And we'll just say, now depending on turn order, this might generate 2 right now, but let's just say it gives us 1. Go red and a green, so the green and 1 red. We get this guy in play, and we go to our turn 3. I think we needed to hit the land drop to get there. Let's see. So this guy, if we put 6 mana into it, we get 8 mana, which again is a little awkward, right? We don't always need the 8 mana. I wish it was put 5 in and get 6 out, but it's not. It's put 6 in, get 8 out, which sounds better. Much is going to depend on how much mana we can make off of our carpet on turn 3. I think 2 is not cheaty at all. So we would have 1, 2, 3, say 4, 5. Let's just make this guy middle case all the time. We'll just say he's 5 mana. It could be 4, could be 5, could be 6. We'll just call it 5. So 5. Let's see, we'd cast it by going 1, 2, 3. So we got 5 here. 6, 7. So that's an ETALI flip without even using this. So we definitely got to ETALI. It's just a question of, depending on how much mana this makes, and depending on how much mana this makes, we could have a surplus. We could we miss? This is going to be at least 4. So if we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, one of the, either this would have to make at least 2, or this would have to hit at least average in order for us to pump our mana into this, and then we almost certainly we make at least, well, we almost certainly make, we get our flip. We get our flip here. I mean, we'd have to be keeping it way down, playing it very close to the vest to not call this an ETALI flip. But you know what? Even if it's not, then we would just do the flip on turn 4. So let's just look and see. Realistically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we use 3 of it for this. I'm going to pause you and get the actual math on the Goblin. I think we kind of need to know that. Otherwise, I feel like some of you are going to think I'm cheating. All right, here's the math on it. So on a roll of 1 through 6, it's 4 mana. On a roll of 7 through 14, it's 5 mana. 15 through 20, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's minimum 4. So it's always going to be a ritual. It's always going to add at least 1 mana. And it is probably going to be 7 through 14 is the biggest chunk. There's 7 numbers there. Am I right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's 8 numbers there. So on a 20-sided die, not quite most of the time, but you're going to have the 5 more times than you will have any other flip or roll. And so I think it's fair to just call it 5. I mean, you could try and play it a little bit safer and say that it's 4, but it's, 1 through 6 on a 20-sided die is a bad roll. I'm not trying to cheat and get like a good roll, just like an average roll. Because sometimes it's going to be 6 mana. So 15 through 20, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So you've got, the same odds of getting a 4 as a 6, and higher than those odds of getting 5 if you're following. If you're following along at home, kids. All right, so let's just call it 5. Okay, so if we call this 1 and we call this 5, does that get us there? Yes, that gets us there easily. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 5, 6. Put 6 into this, get 8. Yeah, there's no way we don't get there. It's just a matter of how much mana we have floating, which does matter quite a lot in this case, because if we have 1, 2, and we got 5 here, then we can actually cast the Electro Duplicate also. So I don't know how I should goldfish this. Pumping 6 into this gets us 8. And if we have another one floating and another one floating, then we'd have enough to cast the Electro Duplicate. I don't know. Let's cast ETALI and see what happens off the first flip. All right, we get a... Not bad. Not bad. That's big for a next turn if we have to go to a next turn. See what Kefka gives us. Rapid. Again, not bad. We're doing some damage. We're getting pretty far ahead here. So, and again, not bad. We're blowing up our opponent's things. Like we just murdered our opponent's Malcolm with their own spell. We just killed Kefka with their own spell. And Balin, we're counting on you to do the nasty thing for us. That's, not great. But that snatches one of their combo pieces anyway. So in the best case, let's see what happens when we got lucky. If we did get lucky, we can do another flip. If we didn't get lucky, we can wait until our next turn and look to assemble a combo, or maybe because what we do on our next turn is probably look for, let's see, we'd get a Rionia and Combat Celebrant, and we'd probably just cast the Rionia next turn. So let's see what happens. Yeah, let's just go to a next turn. We've definitely slowed our opponents down enough that we ought to get a next turn. Now we've got the Sticker Goblin. Actually, we can just win the game with this combo. So we can just win the game with the combo. We can. We've got lots of ways to win the game. If we have now we're on turn 4. For sure, this is going to make 2 mana minimum with 2 opponents that are playing blue decks. So 2 mana here. We can use the last of this, or we can get 3, 4 mana out of this forest. So we've got plenty of mana. So what I would do is I would use the shared summons to get Rionia and Combat Celebrant. I think that's what I would do. But you could also just use the shared summons to get something in Dualcaster Mage, and you've got the Electro Duplicate in hand. So maybe you shared summons, get Rionia as a backup plan, and get the Dualcaster Mage, and then try to do the Dualcaster Mage combo. Or you could just get a Skirk Prospector. Well, we actually don't need the Skirk Prospector because we've got... So we could just do this. We could cast this, and then whatever the first thing we cast, the first creature we cast is, we can... whatever the first creature we cast is, off of it when we get our shared summons. We can bounce this to hand and start that little loop and get infinite mana, because we can, whatever we cast, we can bounce the 1-drop to hand, and then we can play the 1-drop and bounce this to hand, play this and bounce this to hand. So yeah, like worst case scenario, we win the game on turn 4 here. Let's do it again. Isn't this fun? I know I don't sound excited or enthused. I'm here by myself, guys. There's nobody here with me. I kind of do miss that. Like doing content with a co-host is a lot. It doesn't feel so weird, and there's like, it's more fun. It's a lot more fun, and it's easier to keep the energy high, you know. Boy, this is a good start for this homie. But we're not worried about him. We're not worried about that homie. I don't give a fuck about him. Fuck Balin. Alright, so is this a keep? This looks good. Yeah, for sure. This is a keep. Okay, so first 7, we're going to draw. We're going to cast a Orc. Go to our second turn. Sequencing matters kind of a lot here. In fact, I think I already botched the sequencing. I should have gone turn 1, burn the Spirit Guide, put the Arcane Signet in play, and cast the Orcish Lumberjack. Let's just pretend I'm good at this game. So turn 1 should have looked like this. It should have looked like burn the Elvish Spirit Guide, Arcane Signet, tap the Arcane Signet, and then we go to our turn 2. The Arcane Signet, I tap to cast that on turn 1. And then turn 2. You know what? Actually, the sequencing didn't matter very much. Yeah, kind of either way. That would have been fine. And so now we'd have a decision to make. We could look to get our turn 3 ETALIs flipping, or we could end step. We can tap the Arcane Signet, tap this, sacrifice this. We can get, we could look to shared summons and then put a creature combo together. But that's not what we're here. That's not what we gathered here to do today. Today is about ETALI flips. So turn 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's sad. We almost don't have to sacrifice a forest. But alas, we do indeed have to sacrifice a forest. I wonder if I would have kept the fucking Elvish Spirit Guide about. Oh, damn it. I bet you that is the case. So maybe the first way I did it was my intuition paying off. Because if I had the Elvish Spirit Guide now, I wouldn't have to sacrifice a damn forest. Oh, well. I'm not sure, honestly. Okay, so that's 1 mana. Sacrifice that. If you're not familiar with this nasty son of a bitch, this sacks a forest to add 3 mana. It turns your forest into black loti of any color. So that's 4 mana. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I don't know. We might want to use this instead to keep these untapped because we don't know what we might flip into. But that could also be a waste, and we might just want to tap the lands and not get rid of this guy so we can save it for future. But we're looking to hope for a win straight away. So let's keep our colored mana sources open. ETALI. Flip. Okay. Got a bunch of mana. Flip. Got a useless tutor because, well, is there any way we can make it not useless? We've got 2 types. For Delirium is 4 types, I think. Yeah, so the Demonic Council requires 4 different permanent types to turn on. So that was a total whiff. Come on, Malcolm. What do you got for us? Chart a course. I guess that's not totally useless. These flips have been abysmal. I was flipping nasty shit. Okay. Was this the game where we used the servant? Yes, we did use the servant. So that means we could have attacked first. I don't know if we would have attacked first. For chart, of course. I mean, probably realistically we would not have. But let's cast the chart of course. What is it? Draw 2, discard 1. Oh, nice. Nice. All right. We got, it would have been nicer to flip into this, but we'll take it. So, I mean, am I missing something, or does this just win the game? Like, what stops me from casting the Eldrazi Confluence on ETALI and flickering it 3 times? Is it because once it's flickered, the next thing the flicker would try to resolve and it would already be flickered? I'm going to look that up quick. Let's pause. Yeah, that is freaking messed up. That was a huge find. So I'm looking it up on our future overlord ChatGPT. I said, can you use the card Eldrazi? And this thing has all the rules. This is a very, if you're not using this to check rules, like even in tournaments, you can use ChatGPT as your personal pocket judge. It's very, very good, very effective. Can you use the card Eldrazi Confluence to flicker the same creature multiple times? It says yes, as long as you choose that mode multiple times. Eldrazi Confluence says choose 3, blah, 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 blah. Then it says how it plays out. The flicker effects resolve in the order they're written on the stack. First flicker exiles and returns. The later flicker modes still see the new versions of work fine since each targets separately when the spell is cast. You just need to make sure you have the mana to pay the 4 RRR, and it's a legal target for each mode you choose. Do you want me to explain the weird case where you can chain ETB triggers by doing this? That's the fun part. And I think we'll just hold off on that. But yeah, this is a win. So we get, we've got mana from our Goblin guy here, and we do the thing and flicker our ETALI a billion times, 3 times, 3 more times. Let's do another one. That's honestly, that's just too fucking easy. Okay, restart. I want to keep these videos under an hour. Oh, all right, guys. I think that's it. We'll just look at another. Oh, this was going to be the bad one anyway. Going to a 6. I'm not going to play it out. We're just going to see where we'd stop. Oh, wow, no. Going to a 5. Wow, what perfect timing to end on. That's my 5. Okay, so I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is not a great hand. Let me know in the comments below what you would do to make this Geosurge better in the deck, if you would cut it, or if you think it's worth it, and maybe like in real gameplay, your ETALI is going to get countered sometimes. They're not just going to let you get to turn 3 ETALI every time. There might be times where you don't want to go turn 3 ETALI. You want to, I don't know, play more defensive or grindy. So, you know, just because it doesn't exactly do the best job of getting us to turn 3 ETALI, that doesn't mean that it's automatically not good enough for the deck. It also is a cheap card. Doesn't cost very much. I think it's like 28 cents. But I'd like to hear some discussion about it in the comments below. Oh shit, we're going to go past our... Siempre estoy a Dios, no asusto. Sorry, sometimes when I get mad, I speak in tongues. That's it, guys. That's 1 hour and 5 seconds. Fuck a duck. That's ETALI. That's Budget ETALI. That's Hundo ETALI. Help me think of a clever name for it, too. In the comments below, what do we think about this Geosurge? And what do you think about the deck? Sick, right? $100, turn 3. Let's go. And you guys know I don't use any special editing. Fucking ever. I don't even use... come on. You know me. I don't even use a script. I don't even know what I'm going to say to close out the video. some chaining some bullshit sign-offs that I've used over the last however long I've been making videos. Like, may the force be with you. Like, until next time, may the force be with you and also with you. And may peace be with you and also with you. Welcome to the dark side of the peace. East side until the day that I die. On the west side, north side until the day that I die. I'm going to switch it up. I like to switch it up. Ask your mother and your father. They both know, because I do like to switch it up. Namaste, bitches.